Today, I want to talk about prosperity, specifically financial prosperity. Now, I'm going to give you these 7 steps to financial abundance that I have worked with for many, many years and have always really proven themselves to be extremely powerful for me. I'm certain that they will be powerful for you as well if you follow them. So we'll go through each of those steps together right now. The first step for financial prosperity is to, if you're working money magic, start working money magic on the things that you want the money to buy rather than just the money itself. Now, that's not to say that you can't ever do money spells just for money, but for now, just think in terms of, what do I want the money for? Why do I want money? Do spells on that. You could even do money spells to say, I want such and such money to buy such and such a thing. But you could also just go right straight for the thing. Imagine if it's a lot easier for you to get what you want directly than to have to go through the process of obtaining money to buy it. Wouldn't that be okay? Let's say somebody wanted to give you a brand new Mercedes. Wouldn't that be fine rather than saving up the money to buy it yourself? Start thinking in terms of why you want money, what you want it for, what you're going to use the money for, and start using your spell work on those things themselves and let the money sort of take care of itself. There's nothing wrong with doing money magic ever. In fact, we have a full course on it. It's a 3-week course on financial magic, money magic, and prosperity magic. And you can find that just by going to ariels-corner.com PMM, ariels-corner.com/PMM. And that prosperity and money magic course deals with all kinds of money magic. But let's think in terms of money as a tool rather than an end in itself. When you do that, you free up all kinds of energy. You free up all kinds of magical power for yourself. All kinds of creative solutions can come rushing in when you're not focused so much on money, but on what you want. Nobody really wants money. They think they do, but it's what money can buy them is what they want. So if it's security that you want, well, what does that look like? If it's freedom that you want, what does that look like? If it's possessions that you want, what do those look like? And you just take them one at a time. And remember to always pay close attention to things like your sphere of influence, which we talk about, so that you can break your magical goals down into very achievable things. And if something seems a little bit out of your sphere of influence, there's another way to approach it where you can break it down into smaller chunks that are much more achievable. And then you're constantly succeeding. And you'll notice that all kinds of financial surprises come your way when you're focusing on what you want the money for rather than the money itself. So that's your first step, working on spells for the things you want rather than so much for the money itself. The second step is when money does come in, you want to do 3 things with it first before you buy what you want. You want to take a little bit of that money and tithe it. And I have a whole lecture on the magical use of tithing. And when we tithe, we don't do it religiously because, we feel beholden to a church or something like that. We tithe because it's a way of increasing our inflow. So we take a portion of what comes in and we tithe it. And I would just, instead of me spending a ton of time talking to you about how tithing works, just listen to that lecture on tithing as a magical tool. And then you want to pay taxes. So you've tithed first, and then you've paid taxes second. That's a prosperity action, is to pay your taxes right away. If you're having your taxes withdrawn automatically, then you don't have to worry about that. And then the final step on number 2 is to save some of it. So if you've brought in $50, you can take $5 in tithe. You can probably save, another $5 or $10 for taxes, and then save a few dollars. And then the rest of it you can spend freely on what you want. That way, what you're doing is rather than just spending all the money, which is a kind of a poverty way of dealing with money. It's like, oh, my money came in, let's get rid of it. That's poverty. Instead of what you're doing is you're planting a seed with a bit of it. You're paying Caesar what Caesar is due with a little bit of it. And you are increasing your financial security by saving some of it. So you always have a reserve. So you're planting seeds with tithing. You are paying for the land basically with your taxes, and then you are increasing your reserves by saving a little bit of it. And if you do those things, then you feel very free about spending the rest of it. You spend the rest of it however you want. Step 2 is such an important thing. It took me so many years. I wish somebody had just told me this. I wish somebody had just taught this to me when I was a kid, because it took me so long to figure out step number 2. All I have to do when money comes in is tithe, pay taxes, and save, and then do anything I want with the rest of it. Do anything that I want with the rest of it. And the thing is when you do tithe, pay taxes, and save, you feel so free about how you can spend your money. You don't feel guilty about spending your money. And it's not so much the money itself that you're spending, it's the attitude with which you're spending the money that makes all the difference in the world, right? So what you show up with, the attitude that you show up with when you're spending money makes a huge difference as to how the next amount of money is coming to you and how receptive and attractive and magnetic you are to that money. So you want to turn your own self into like a money magnet or a money battery. And the way you do that is be very careful of the attitude that you're using when you're spending money. And if you've done that 3-step, that prosperity waltz, tithe, pay taxes, and save, then your attitude is so much easier to keep at a high level attitude. You're not worried about it because you've covered your bases. First step was you work on spells for what you want rather than the money itself. And that second step was when money comes in, immediately make sure that you tithe, pay taxes, and save. The third step is a very, very powerful and important thing. And I want to really make sure you understand this. Don't complete negative statements about money. When you notice a negative statement coming out of your mouth, you reverse it immediately. This is imperative. If you catch yourself saying, oh, I can't afford that, just wait, reverse. You don't have to say, oh, I can afford that if you don't believe it. That's not what we're saying. But you reframe that and you say, I don't want to spend money on that right now. That's much more prosperous than saying I can't afford that. Now, if you really want to afford that, you could even take it one step further. You can say, the way is opening for me to have that right now. That thing is an idea in infinite intelligence, and infinite intelligence is sending me the way and the means that I can afford that right now. But rather than saying I can't afford it, you can just reframe that and say, I don't want to spend money on that right now. You can just easily just change your words, because your words have so much power. They have so much power. And if you keep saying, I can't afford that, I can't afford that, I can't afford that, your deep mind says, human can't afford that, human can't afford that. It's like this biocomputer inside of you that's giving you back what you're putting into it. And remember that phrase, garbage in, garbage out? Well, it's still true. Garbage in, garbage out. So you've got to be careful of what you're programming your mind about when you're dealing with money. So any kind of negative statement about money, you reframe it immediately. When we're dealing with bills, oh, everything's so expensive. Oh, there's so much more month left than there is money and all of that kind of stuff. When you notice that coming up, you just choose to reframe it. You don't have to lie. We're not saying to lie and to make some kind of weird affirmation that's not the truth. We're saying reframe your language and stating that I am open and receptive to all of the abundance that is mine. If you see a need, rather than saying, oh, I'll never be able to pay that bill, you say, the way is showing itself for me to pay that bill right now. That bill is paid in divine order. That bill is paid under divine grace. You just use your words to say something that you want rather than constantly and unconsciously saying and affirming and reinforcing the things that you don't want. Step 1, again, was work on things that you want rather than just the money. Step 2 is when money comes in, you tithe, pay taxes, and save. And 3 is you don't allow yourself to complete negative statements about money without reframing them. Number 4 is if worries come up around money, you need to purify those as you notice them immediately. If your bill is coming due and you say, oh, they're going to foreclose or they're going to repossess this, you reframe that immediately and you say, infinite intelligence knows the way. This need is now met under divine law. You invoke that divine law immediately. This need is now met under divine law. Infinite intelligence knows the way. I give infinite intelligence right of way that this bill is paid immediately. All my needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. Those kinds of statements. So when those worries come up about money, don't just let them go. You just look at them and you consciously change them. And you reframe them into a power statement so that you're training your deep mind. No, we're not doing money problems. Now we're doing money solutions. And see, what you want when you're doing that is rather than sometimes people do affirmations where they say, I now have all the money I need, as if they are responsible for the money. They're responsible for creating it. No, you put the responsibility on infinite intelligence. You take that responsibility off your shoulders and you throw it onto infinite intelligence, because infinite intelligence can handle it, A, and is the source of it all anyway, B. When you have a worry or a concern about money, rather than burdening yourself with thinking that you're supposed to come up with the solution, you just give that over to infinite intelligence, or whatever word you like, infinite spirit, goddess, God, whatever your higher power's name is. And you just say, this need is being met right now under divine law. Infinite intelligence knows the way. And statements such as that. So that's your 4th step. Worries coming up, you're going to invoke infinite intelligence to make sure that that gets taken care of and is not left as a seed that's growing weeds in your deep mind. So working spells on things that you want rather than money, number 1. When money comes in, you're going to tithe, pay taxes, and save, number 2. Don't complete negative statements about money, number 3. And you cast worries about money by throwing it onto infinite intelligence, number 4. Now, number 5 is you're going to take some time every single day to think better thoughts. You're just going to take maybe 5 minutes at a time. You don't have to overdo this, but you're just going to consider it. You're going to reason it out in your mind that infinite intelligence is the source of all things. Now, you can say God if you want. You can say goddess. You can say the universal mother. You can say the universe, whatever works for you. I'm saying infinite intelligence right now because it's fairly generic. So whatever works for you. Infinite intelligence is the source of everything, the fountainhead of all that is. So since infinite intelligence can create everything, it's just as easy for infinite intelligence to create money in my life as it is for it to create grass in a field, or babies out of embryos, or stars in space, or solar systems and galaxies, or bodies, or whatever. Whatever infinite intelligence is capable of creating, it's just as easy for it to create money in my life. So it's not difficult for infinite intelligence or spirit to create financial abundance for me. Just thinking in terms of how easy it is for spirit to take care of you financially, thinking thoughts about how it's not up to you to be the source of your good. It's up to infinite intelligence. And infinite intelligence desires that you be happy and abundant. It desires that for you. It's easy for it to have that for you. So it's really up to you just to get out of the way. And one of the ways that you get out of the way is by sitting and contemplating about things like this. Just sit and contemplate these thoughts for maybe about 5 minutes a day, once or twice, maybe 3 times if you have the time, right? So that's just taking time out to do that. So, recapping again. Number 1, you work on spells for what you want rather than just the money. Number 2, when money comes in, you tithe, pay taxes, and save first. Number 3, you do not complete negative sentences about money without reversing them. And number 4, if worries and when worries about money come up, you cast those worries on to infinite intelligence. And 5, you take some time every day to consider infinite intelligence as the source of your prosperity and how infinite intelligence wants you to prosper. Step number 6 is you make a very firm decision that you're ready to know that you are entitled to all the wealth that you desire. The power of your decision is number 6. You must decide that you are willing to know that it's your right, it's your birthright to be wealthy. You are entitled to it. It's right that you want that. It's a very, very healthy desire for you to want to be financially prosperous. It's not the same as being greedy. You're not trying to take anything away from anybody. You don't want more than you need, but you want an abundance of what you need. You want a surplus. You don't want just enough to get by. You want abundance. And that's a holy desire. And you're entitled to it. So you must make that decision again and again and again that you're going to know that as fact. You're going to know that you're entitled to it. You're going to know that it's a healthy thing for you. Not only is it infinite intelligence's will for you to be happy and prosperous, but that you're deciding to say yes to that. It's your decision to be abundant. It's your decision to be prosperous. So we're going to recap one more time. First step is to work on spells for what you want rather than only the money. That gets the desire going better, And number 2, when money comes in, before you spend it on the thing, you're going to do something with it. You're going to tithe, you're going to pay taxes on it, and you're going to save some of it. Number 3 is you're not going to complete negative statements about money. You're going to reverse them immediately. Number 4 is when and if worries about money come up, you are going to cast those worries directly on infinite intelligence and allow infinite intelligence to take care of them, not you. Number 5, you're going to take some time each and every day to consider infinite intelligence's will for you. The infinite intelligence's will for you is prosperity. 6 is you're going to make a decision to receive your birthright. You're going to make a decision to know that your financial abundance is your right. It's your entitlement. You are entitled to it. And finally, number 7, you're going to give yourself this statement every day. Now, you can alter it to suit your own language. I am one with infinite intelligence, the source of my existence. This power that is the source of my life is also the source of all of my supply. I allow infinite intelligence to manifest wealth for me easily, abundantly, and joyously. So I'm going to say that again. I am one with infinite intelligence, the source of my existence. This power that is the source of my life is also the source of my supply. I allow infinite intelligence to manifest wealth for me easily, abundantly, and joyously. So let's recap. You're going to work on spells for the things you want rather than just the money to buy them. Number 2, when money comes in, you're going to do more than just spend it immediately. You're going to first tithe, then pay taxes, and then save some of it. And then you're going to spend it freely. Number 3, you're not going to allow yourself to complete negative statements about money without reversing them immediately. Number 4, if worries about money come up, you're going to cast those worries directly on infinite intelligence and let infinite intelligence handle them. Number 5, you're going to take some time each and every day to consider your relationship with infinite intelligence and infinite intelligence's desire for you to be financially prosperous and free. Number 6, you're going to make a very firm decision to know your birthright, to know your entitlement to all the prosperity, the financial prosperity that is your right, that is your birthright. And then 7, every day you're going to work with this affirmation or something very similar. I am one with infinite intelligence, the source of my existence. This power that is the source of my life is also the source of all of my financial supply. I allow infinite intelligence to manifest wealth for me easily, abundantly, and joyously. And that's it. Those are my 7 steps to financial abundance. Now, for some of you, this can manifest great, large amounts of money. For others of you, this will manifest enough money for you to be happy. Some people want lots and lots and lots of money. Some people don't really want that much money because it's too much for them to deal with, But nobody should be feeling at the effect of money. Nobody should be worried about bills all the time. That's a sickening waste of our time, and that's not what infinite intelligence wants for any one of us. Not even one bit. So if you're struggling with money, or if you feel like you could have a better experience and relationship with money, then these 7 steps will help you if you really apply them very diligently and you work with them. You're going to notice a very acute change in the financial abundance in your life. Now, if you want to bring it up a notch even farther after that, you can take my 3-week course called Prosperity and Money Magic. But get started with these 7 steps first and see if you don't notice a pretty big shift if you are diligent with them. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.